Hello, welcome to A Piece of Pie. I'm Candy Pie, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. Today I'm going to be giving my testimony on pregnancy, so come on in. So in 2017, I had suffered a miscarriage. And if you suffered a miscarriage, you already know what comes along with that. You know, you have a lot of shame, you have a lot of guilt, you have a lot of questions, thinking something's wrong with you, and you know, what did you do wrong? You just never know why things like that happen. The doctor advised that we try again in a few months. So 2018 rolls around and nothing happens. And so, you know, top of the year of 2019, I'm like, okay, let me find out what's going on. Let me go in and actually see, you know, exactly what the problem is. So in February, I go in and I see a doctor. He schedules me an ultrasound. I get an ultrasound, and they found 3 different things that was wrong with me.
Likelihood of pregnancy, you've got so much stuff going on that the likelihood of pregnancy is very low. You have multiple. You have 3 different things that can lead to infertility. If you have an endometrioma, it leads to infertility. If you have hydrocephalus, it leads to infertility. If you have a uterine polyp, it leads to infertility. So you just don't have one thing. You have 3 things that can lead to infertility. Now, the fibroid itself can, but in your case, doesn't look like it's in a place that would lead to infertility. So I'd be pretty surprised if you were able to get pregnant, but it's possible. But I think the likelihood is low. So, but we can sit down, go through everything, or 2, we can start moving towards the surgery. I know we're going to end up in the same place, where ultimately you're going to need the surgery.
I had a uterine polyp, endometria, which is a cyst on my ovary. I also had a enlarged fallopian tube. It was 8 to 10 times its normal size. This was the reason why I wasn't getting pregnant. He told me we can go in for surgery. At the time, my husband was actually in between jobs, so therefore our insurance was actually running out. Like, we no longer had insurance to even get the surgery. I took it as a sign that God was just saying, you know, just hold on and to wait. So while I'm waiting, you know, God is just working on my faith. I wrote down exactly, you know, what I would like. I wrote down, you know, that I would like to get pregnant in July and I want to have my baby in March. Once we got insurance, I saw another doctor, and she told me the end of July, once I came on my period, to let them know so I can go in and get another ultrasound so she can see what's going on. She did view the record from the ultrasound that I had previously in February, but she wanted to look in for herself and, you know, see what was going on for herself. Basically, my period never showed up because I was pregnant. So I went to the dollar store yesterday and I got a pregnancy test. And I took the pregnancy test yesterday. It said if it had 1 line, you're not pregnant. If you had 2 lines, pregnant. So mine was on the C side. That's what I saw first yesterday. And so I was like, well, why am I on my period? Yesterday was 2 days late, today I'm 3 days. So I got me 2 more pregnancy tests. $1. These pregnancy tests are expensive, especially when you've done it a lot of times. Ain't nobody got time for that. It's a little line right there. And it's kind of shallow. So I'm expecting to see a really thick line like this one. And the other test that I thought was negative had a light line on the T side. So, according to $3 tests, I'm pregnant. After taking my pregnancy test, you know, I went in a couple days after, you know, to see the new doctor and gave me an ultrasound, and she's like, oh, you're definitely pregnant. I reminded her of, you know, what was going on with my reproductive system according to the ultrasound, and she was like, wait a minute. She was like, hold on. She turned around and she went onto the computer, looked at my records. She slowly turned her chair around and looked at me, and she said, you got pregnant with all this happening inside of you? And I was like, yep. I said, it's a miracle. I said, it's God. And she was just like in shock. So she got up and she went back and did another ultrasound, and she was like, yeah, you're definitely pregnant. And I'm like, yeah. She said, congratulations. And she walked out. And I just remember sitting there and the word of God came over me. I said, nothing is impossible with God. And I was like, God can do anything. He can do anything and nothing can stop him. Before getting pregnant, I remember attending revivals, you know, praying and fasting, reading his word. He gave me scriptures. He gave me a couple of people in the Bible, you know, to reference, you know, that they were, you know, infertile. He would basically confirm through the word that he was going to bless me, but what he wanted to work on within me was my faith. After going through disappointment after disappointment, eventually your faith kind of weakens, and basically what he did was, you know, he built my faith up. I just remember waking up one morning and I said that, you know, I only want what God has for me. You know, yes, I want a baby, I would love to have a child, but I want what God has for me. As much as I wanted it, as much as I wanted to have a baby, I want his will to be done and not my will. Because at the end of the day, his will is the perfect will, is the best thing for you. He has a plan for our lives and he won't withhold any good thing from us. So if it's for me, it's a good thing. And if it's for me, it's gonna happen. And that's why I had to rely on it. It was almost like he was saying, she got it. She got it. Now it's time for me to bless her. That was in June when I made that declaration. In July, I got pregnant. I got pregnant in July, like I said, I wanted, but I had my baby in April of 2020. So the beginning of April, April 10th, that's when I had my baby. And that's what I wrote down. It says, write it down and make it plain. And I wrote that down, but it would not have happened if I did not have faith, if I did not say, let thy will be done.
Those are the contractions on the bottom. A lot of pressure.
That's you, baby. What is so funny? Yay, baby!
And it just shows me that, you know, he's real. You know what I mean? Like, he's giving me scriptures, he's, you know, I fasted, prayed, and he has responded to me. He's real. That's all I gotta say. God is real. And I'm so thankful.